project started.
Right. Yeah, it was until then, it was when we were writing Life Aquatic, I remember you would get calls sometimes about it, like if we were in your office and talk about it and then hang up and then we'd go back to Life Aquatic and I would sit there quietly and politely. Your other project that didn't involve me. So that began it.
That began it, yes. But I think we really started writing in earnest when we met. We worked on it a little bit in Los Angeles and New York, but we really settled into it when we went to Gypsy House.
Yeah, we as opposed Life Aquatic, we really wrote in a very concentrated, really in one place. I mean, at Bar Petey.
One table.
One table.
Yeah.
This was written over a longer period of time in many different places.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, then when you invited me out to Gypsy House to sort of, we sort of had almost a version then, but it really found its way when we went there.
Right. Yeah, I don't even remember what stage we were in. But I felt like when we went to Gypsy House, we sort of got this, or anyway, this is the way I've been telling it in interviews. I have absolutely no idea if this is
hard to know after a while if that's true.
Yeah. But I felt like we started relating it more to Dahl himself when we spent time at Gypsy House. I
think that's just what you've been saying in interviews, but I'll go with it.
Yeah. I know we in Gypsy we met. It was Roald Dahl's widow, Lissy Dahl, who invited us to work there, and we met his grandson Luke Kelly, who showed us in the sort of billiards room. They had all of his archives, and we started sorting through that stuff.
That was incredible. It was all of these. It was pads of things, even just like ideas, like a good line for somebody to say in something. There was the things that that never made it into.
One thing in it that was very pornographic that Luke flipped to and showed us.
Yeah, he was just like, you got to look at this one.
And it was like a little poem, just a sentence. Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember. I just remember it being. You would think almost in that context, anything even slightly racy would be shocking, but this was totally pornographic.
Yes, yes, I remember it, but I don't feel I can say it. Maybe later in the thing if we warm up a bit.
At the reception, maybe.
Yeah. And also, while we were there, we found Luke showed us his first manuscript of Fantastic Mr. Fox, which was on a yellow legal pad in pencil, with drawings taped into it, and it had a different ending, which we ended up eventually using for the film.
That's right. We used the. Did we have to get permission for that, or was that you can just do that?
I think you can just do it.
Uh-huh.
I know there was another thing that we stole from a different Dahl book. The blueberries thing, remember, was from Danny, Champion of the World. Right. And that you can't do. In fact, because I heard from the Dahl attorneys in a certain point in the process, and we'd already shot it. So I had to beg them to let us keep it in there.
Is there you don't say credit, like the blueberry scene inspired?
I think the idea was to sort of keep it quiet.
Uh-huh. Did you have any? I feel like at least from between Bottle Rocket and now, I feel like this stuff stealing things is harder now than it used to be. Do you find?
It's interesting. It's an interesting point. Strangely, I know exactly what you mean.
Uh-huh.
I know. You know what? Let's just speak freely.
Okay.
I'm thinking of during Life Aquatic, there were some real legal issues.
Total cluster cuss.
It was a disaster. Life Aquatic. Some people may have picked up on the idea that Life Aquatic was inspired by Jacques Cousteau, that certain aspects of the story came from his life and works.
I could see that, yeah.
Yes. In fact, there are people in red hats here tonight that actually comes from that.
You know, what's interesting is that movie did not do well at the time, but has grown and quite a cult following.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Maybe we made cult.
Yeah. Anyway, go on. Yeah.
Well, anyway, the film was made with Touchstone, which is a part of Disney, and after we'd shot the film, they picked up on this somehow, and it became a gigantic issue because the problem was that they wanted to. They didn't feel that we could release the film with this glaring legal lapse, but they also didn't want to call it to the attention of the Jacques Cousteau family. So it left us in an awkward impasse, how to proceed. And finally, they just said they pulled together $200,000 or something, and they called the Jacques Cousteau family and said, "We would like to give you $200,000 not to sue us if you think this is illegal." And they watched the film and they agreed to the settlement, but with an interesting credit. They said, which their lawyers specified in French, maybe something in translation, maybe in the original French it was better, but it struck me as peculiar when the titles came back from Pacific Optical, and it says the filmmakers wish to express their gratitude and thanks to the Jacques Cousteau Society and the Cousteau family, who were in no way involved with the making of this film. That's a true story.
And we had to change some lines too.
Yes, we did. We had to change the font.
That's right.
Yeah.